Good Monday makers. It's time for another community build roundup. And in this week's episode, we're going to be checking out a foot treatment cart for sheep, a lawnmower canopy, custom monitor stands, a boot rack, and a golf simulator screen frame. All kinds of really great builds. Let's jump right in and check them out. First up is this really unique and interesting project from Paul. This apparently is a mobile foot treatment cart that he made for his sheep. So apparently, there is a disease that sheep can get on their feet, and this helps prevent that. So basically, between their two paddocks, he built this cart that they have to go through, and they walk along this, and it helps just kind of clean their feet and keeps them from, getting that disease or infection. And so basically, what he did was he made the EMT conduit frame using maker pipe connectors, and you can see on both sides he's got the wheels using the method that we've talked about, where you use a threaded rod or a smooth rod all the way through the piece of conduit, and you just shim the gap in there, and then you add wheels on both sides. And I'll link a couple videos down in the description on how you can achieve these types of axles and wheel mounts. Basically, he's got the pneumatic wheels on both sides so it can roll. And then he's got the frame. And I think the way he bent the conduit was really unique. He basically used, a piece of wood and 2x4 and then a cut piece of wood that's rounded so he can use it as a guide for bending the same arch. So he did that all the way down. I think every one of these verticals here goes up and arches over. So he had to do a lot of bends and needed them to be the same every time. So that was really smart to achieve those. And we actually did a calculator a while back that you can use for these types of bends if you want to use that. If you don't want to make a jig, but if you're able to make a jig like this, then that's definitely a way to go, just because it's a really great option to get a exact same bend every time. But he did that and then draped the tarps over top of the frame and secured it with, looks like a mixture of zip ties and ball bungees. And then he said he secured wood to the frame with one hole straps. And as you can see, there's quite a few of those mounted to kind of hold the wood in place. And he said that he's had like 500 pounds of sheep in here. He said with just the conduit, wasn't it strong enough for that many sheep in there. But he added wood, and that really made it reinforced it and kind of added some strength to it, which is a good thing to keep in mind if you're building something like this or like a desk or shelf. That you can get some more strength by securing wood and kind of using that to sturdy up a build. But he said he had like 500 pounds of sheep in here, and it didn't have any flex or anything, which is really cool and just a really great project, as you can see. So thanks so much, Paul, for sharing this. Really great build. Next up is a project from Specific Love Creations on YouTube, and they made a canopy for their lawnmower, as you can see here. And it's really awesome and works great to provide shade while you're riding the lawnmower and doing some landscaping around your yard. It's really hot out right now. We got that September heat still down here in South Carolina, and it's just really hot. So something like this is great if you're doing some yard work outside. And basically, he did a full build video and showcased several different techniques. There were some really great ones that you can check out in that video. I don't want to give away too many of the secrets because you should definitely watch his video that's linked down below. But I will highlight one that I liked a lot, which was basically hammering the end of the conduit flat and then drilling a hole through there to mount it to the lawnmower in a few different places. That was a really good technique, and he also included some tips for getting bends with the bender and just attaching everything and bracing with maker pipe. And it's just a really great video if you want to make a lawnmower canopy. But there's also some other tips and tricks for making other things as well. So definitely check out that video for more information. Thanks so much, Specific Love, for sharing that. Really great build. Next up is a series of monitor stands built by Graciela. Graciela? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Sorry, I'm sure I'm butchering it. But basically, she is an artist, and in her latest installation, needed some stands to hold various monitors, and she built those with maker pipe and EMT conduit, as you can see here. And basically, it's just a really simple construction. There's no wood or anything. It's basically just a frame that has pipes going back and forth, and these stands, like the bottom stands of the monitors, kind of sit on those cross pipes, and they're supported in that way. It's really simple. Looks like just a lot of T connectors to basically, have the verticals go up and then connect to the horizontal pieces that go from side to side. We can't really see behind the frame, so I don't know if this is all one piece or if the back stand is separate from the front one. Not entirely sure, but you could easily join those two together with connectors back there where the pipes intersect. But that's really cool and just a really awesome project. Definitely check out her website. I'll link it down below. She's got all kinds of different art installations and things that she talks about on her website. So be sure to check that out. And thanks so much for sharing this. Really appreciate it. Next up is a boot rack from Tom. So he said they have a bunch of employee boots and they needed a way to get them off the ground and store them nicely. And this is a rack to achieve that. You can imagine having these, what, probably like 15 pairs of boots, having those all on the ground here or just scattered around could be a whole mess. So instead, they built this rack to store and organize them nicely. Basically, it's just four verticals to kind of elevate the rack a little bit off of the ground. As you can see, then they use T connectors to connect those verticals to a bar that goes from front to back. And then they use 90-degree connectors to basically add the pipe that goes from side to side and then up to the top. And then they basically just use T connectors to add some cross pipes, and you can see that they did it in a really cool way where basically the part like the back of the boot rests on this pipe here, and then the front of the boot actually doesn't even touch anything on the frame. They actually offset it so the top of the boots sit at an angle so it's able to just kind of sit forward, and the pipe on the opposite side of the frame catches the front of the boot here, as you can see. So the back is supported with this pipe that goes from side to side, and then the top of the boot is supported with this pipe that goes from one side to the other, and that allows it to kind of rotate and tilt forward, which is really awesome. And it's a great project and a really unique use case. He said it's for their employees, so they've got some kind of business where the boots are getting wet and dirty and need a place to keep them. So this is really awesome. Thanks so much, Tom, for sharing this. Awesome build. Next up is a golf simulator screen frame built by Michael, and this is really cool. You can see here it's set up in kind of a home area. They've got some or quite a bit of room here that they can store everything. And I think it's 10 foot wide by 8.5 foot tall. And you can see that they basically did it where it's elevated away from or has a bit of an offset from the wall a bit, which is a good idea. You don't want the golf balls to be hitting the wall there and putting a bunch of holes in the drywall. So they've got, I think, a 2 foot gap between the wall and the screen itself. And they basically just did that by adding, a piece of conduit with looks like end caps or rubber pipe feet in the end. So that creates kind of a nice barrier and a stop between the screen itself and the wall. Then they just used, I think, 90-degree connectors. Yeah, 90-degree connectors for the pipes that go from side to side and then down to the bottom of the frame. And then T connectors are being used at the bottom here to create this front to back kind of offset pipe. And then you can see there's an adjustable angle connector that is going down to the ground and then just adds a support down to the front so it doesn't tip over going forward. And I think he said he's going to finish off the frame by adding some netting and everything around the outside and just kind of finish off this whole area. And he's going to be able to do some golf swings at home, get some practice in, which is always really cool. We love seeing projects like this and all of your projects. Thanks everybody for posting them. We always appreciate it and love showcasing them in these videos. If you want to see any of these in more detail, they'll be linked down below. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in the next one.